and holding a 50 caliber.
I was going to say, it's not like it's a 22 or even like a 9mm. He's shooting a Desert Eagle 50 caliber.
That's my favorite gun.
And he holds up a book to stop the bullet.
Because he thinks the book is... Now, short of being like, I'm going to guess, I don't know what, the first 8 to 10 volumes of the Encyclopedia Britannica... A book isn't going to do much against a 50 caliber. Anybody with any common sense.
A bulletproof vest like Tom Nardone bullet safe won't stop a 50 cal.
Where's the bell? That was a good plug.
Yeah, Tom, how you doing? No, but that won't stop a 50 cal. It's only rated up to a 40.
So I shot a 50 cal at a bachelor party once, and it's a beautiful,
it's a cannon.
Beautiful pistol, and it's the kind of recoil. If you don't hold it, and they warned us when we were shooting this, like this will clock you straight in the forehead and you will bleed profusely. Oh, yeah. So we're just basically sitting there and it's like, it's got a hell of a kick. But I found a guy on the internet who tested a bunch of different guns against books. And a 22 caliber will penetrate 1 inch worth of books. And 22 is basically...
That's what I'm saying.
From how far away?
I don't remember what he was testing from. But... Does his girlfriend have good aim? Does anyone have good aim with a 50 caliber?
Exactly.
So a 45 ACP penetrated 4.25 inches of books. So basically that is a large... That's any book written
That's
by
the
Stephen
unabridged
King.
Stephen King The Stand.
Under the Dome.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Dune.
I don't know what they were thinking. That's just the most...
I'm going to get famous, make them millions. YouTube money.
She got charged, didn't she, with like manslaughter?
Negligent discharge of a firearm.
Yeah, that's not manslaughter.
I'm thinking the penalty there is the fact that she's 7 months pregnant with their second child. Yeah.
When it comes to these kind of weapons,
why isn't Daddy around? Well,
and then she starts crying. It's like, oh shit.
So the one that's interesting, and this makes for a good conversation, is with Google in the EU. Recently got slapped with a 2.7 billion euro fine over search results. Like that's like if you're Google, and granted you probably saved all that in tax money by setting up shop in Ireland.
In Ireland, right?
So you don't really care because it's kind of a wash. But what does that say to? I guess the regulations of the EU. I mean, really, it was just shopping rule. Like you couldn't get preferential placement in the Google tab shopping.
Yeah, they call that antitrust, I think, or anti-competitive practices. And basically the thing is, like, when you would type in something in Google Shopping, they would show their results first, which you're Google. I kind of get it. You're giving the search results. They put the little word sponsored underneath it, right? So
they're very, very
it's
light
your own
word
product.
sponsored.
That was the point of my bringing up a good point is it's your own product. There's no you don't need to be net neutral if you're Google. You're Google.
But let's get to
go to Bing if you want. Sorry, Jerry. You gotta if you want different results. You gotta either do your own EU or go to Bing.
But Bing just uses Google searches, so it doesn't matter anyways. Or
right?
They used to.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
No, but you know what I'm saying? It's like Google no way says their search results need to be fair. They try to be for the sake of their being a good product.
But they're still Google.
But they're still Google.
And so having their results come up first, yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, though, this feels much more about the fact that Europe doesn't have a competitive competitor in the space, and so there's a lot of social anxiety about losing the culture of Europe. Same thing in Canada with their broadcast rules around songs and radio. Right. So I think this is much more about culture than competitiveness.
Well, there's a really interesting thing there's talk about the EU Commission being biased. I mean, think about
Of course they
are. Like, well, there's no data to suggest that. But, they sued Microsoft in 2008, Intel in 2009, Qualcomm in 2015, Apple in 2016, and Facebook in 2017. So they're obviously worried about these American tech companies and how much of Europeans' lives they control.
Well, then build your own.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing, right?
It's like that whole thing with ICANN, that whole, decentralizing and giving away the U.S. control of the internet. No, we built it. I'm sorry, we built it. We get to control it. If that's not good for you, go build your own internet.
The entire Czech Republic is coding for the U.S. companies anyway. You can't...
Exactly. Rentacoder.com is all Russian, Czech, and Turkish programmers writing code for...
I resemble that.
I'm just saying.
Nuri, you sent an interesting link this week about the Department of Justice.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And it's not interesting. It's scary as hell.
Well, it's semi-relevant here.
So basically, the whole thing started. Someone had an email address in a foreign country, and it was a Hotmail account or something.
Yeah, it was like a Hotmail.fr or Hotmail. It was a European company. It was an offshore, not U.S. based.
And the interesting thing about European data is that there's that safe harbor rules, right? So I think all European data has to stay in European data centers. So basically, the DOJ wanted access to this email account. Microsoft said none.
Yeah.
They said no. And now they're basically taking it to the Supreme Court. And the ramifications of this, which are absolutely ridiculous.
Well, and I guess put that in perspective. So the DOJ got a U.S. warrant to go to Microsoft in Redmond and said, give us this data on a foreign server. And Microsoft said no.
They said no.
Yeah.
Yeah. We.
No. Is Nuri sensing the resistance?
No, what's really scary, though, is what happens then if this thing goes through and the DOJ can basically march into any country and say, I need data in this data center. What happens when somebody in, like, Iran demands data from U.S. data centers? They just get to march into ours and say, oh, I need your data, please. It's like,
well, I think it would have to be. So, I mean, I think because the DOJ's argument, and I thought it was hilarious that they filed a 220 page brief.
Baffle them with bullshit.
That only had 17 pages of actual arguments in it. But so, I mean, it's, their argument is, well, Microsoft is a US based company. They technically have control over those servers, even though they're in, foreign lands. Therefore, a US warrant should give us access to those foreign servers because they're controlled by a U.S. company. So I'm not as worried about the argument about someone in it. Like, I would be worried about, say, someone in Iran walking into a U.S. company's data center in Iran and saying fork over the data. But I mean, it is kind of a weird thing.
And TechDirt actually has the document posted. It's 207 pages.
Yeah, it's 207. There's
you can read all 200 if you care.
All 183 pages
and they're
nonsense.
Like, terrorism. But one of the examples they cite was like a drug dealer, like an actual just like low level drug dealer that they wanted access to his email account. So
in all things that happens with the internet and with data centers and all, it all comes back to porn.
Always.
Nothing we haven't talked about before. So I guess there was a great article came out in Vox, and it's basically proof that Americans are lying about their quote unquote either fantasies / desires.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I loved this story so hard. It was such a great thing where it's basically a researcher sat down and did a deep dive analysis on people's porn search results, and the stats in there were like, there are like women are searching for is my husband gay?
Especially in the South, actually.
Especially in the South,
a lot.
apparently. And they said, statistically, you should be more concerned in searching for is my husband depressed or is my husband cheating on me?
Or secretly an alcoholic.
But no, they're also, the majority is searching on is my husband gay?
It says right here, they're 10 times more likely to ask Google if their husband is gay than if he's depressed or an alcoholic.
Yep. But it is far more likely that a woman is married to a man who is secretly an alcoholic or secretly depressed than secretly gay.
Can you be a secretly gay, depressed, alcoholic husband as well?
It's
statistically very small.
Well, and it's crazy. And just, some of the stuff. And one thing I thought was interesting was, they talk about how it's actually like it disproves the stereotype because, they said the vast majority of searches were it was men searching for larger women in porn as opposed to like skinny women. So he's like, so you have this world where women are trying to be skinny because they think that's what men want, and men are trying to date skinny women because they think that's what they're supposed to have. But then when they're home, they're searching for porn for not skinny girls, and the girls don't need to be skinny because then they could have the guys that want the girl. And here's
some bad news.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. And then the world goes round.
Right.
About 1 in 100 are for grandma porn.
Yeah,
like I
say here it is. Yeah, it's highly inefficient. There are a lot of single men. Yeah, there's a lot of single men and single overweight women who would be sexually compatible, but they don't date because the man tries and fails to date a skinny woman, even though he's less attracted to her. And then the women who are practically starving themselves to remain skinny so their husbands won't leave, even though their husbands would be more attracted to them if they weighed more. The desire to impress people just causes all kinds of inefficiencies.
What an interviewer like statistics kind of thing to say. The thing that I liked was that. People think that there's a larger concentration of gay people in New York City and Los Angeles, but it turns out that based on porn searches, they're about the same from everywhere.
Yep.
which I thought was a really
Well,
interesting thing.
the one that came from India is the number one search for women is
My husband wants me to.
Yeah.
Well, and that's only, and they use that initial search, like that was the start of, like, okay, my husband wants me to, ... was, okay, what
it was
pops?
adult breastfeeding.
Apparently in India, men want to be breastfed. That's a thing. But hey, whatever floats you. I've always said, everybody has your kinks.
Right.
As long as your kinks don't interfere with my kinks, we're good.
Japanese
Yep.
men are all into tickling. Apparently, that's a thing.
Tickling part. I didn't understand it.
Tickle party later? Well, the book is called Everybody Lies. It's by Seth Stevens, Davidowitz, and pick it up wherever fine books are sold.
And I think this is a great thing. Sometimes I think it would be a good thing if everyone's porn habits were just released at once. It would be embarrassing for about 30 seconds, and then we'd all get over it and just be more open about sex.
Can we have them like float above our heads? I mean,
Right.
So one of my favorite podcasts we ever did is when we did the Berenstain Bears Mandela Effect discussion for probably almost like a half an hour.
And so for those not familiar with the Mandela effect, so there is this theory floating around that timelines have split at some point in time because there are a large number of people who truly believe and remember that Nelson Mandela died while being held in a South African jail. He did not. He died in 2013, resulting from, I believe it was heart failure, if I recall correctly. But there are thousands and thousands of people that believe with every fiber of their being that they remember the news reports, they remember the stories, they remember everything about him dying in captivity. And then so the Berenstain Bears tie-in was, well, wait a minute, it's not EIN at the end of it. No.
Stained like gravy.
It's AIN.
Right.
And I'm like, well, but no, I swear I remember the books, and it's EIN.
I remember going to Cedar Point when they had Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
We Gretchen, my 13-year-old daughter, and me talked about that for probably like 45 solid minutes ago. Like, because she even says, "No, it's Steen, Dad."
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, how? No, it's when did it change? Then, if you remembered it and you're still young,
But apparently it never changed. It's all, according to this,
Right.
it's always been AIN.
Right.
Now, the one that I hit you with that kind of like, you were like, go F yourself, I'm Googling this right now, is the Flintstones.
it's Flint with a T.
yeah.
Are
with
not
a T.
no, but it's not. It's the Flintstones. If you Google it, if you look at the old cartoons,
You're
it's
a
the
liar.
Flintstones.
Is the song Flintstones?
It's the Flintstones. Meet the Flintstones.
You're a liar.
Not
Well, no, I'm
Flintstones.
looking at like the current Flintstones, and it's with a T. Like on iTunes.
Well,
the
see,
iTunes
if you
store.
Google the Flintstones now, you'll see the T has reappeared as of the movie.
No, vitamins are damn Flint with a T.
those are pretty tasty.
Wikipedia is with a T. Wikipedia is all knowing.
So
it's backwards then. So when
according
was
to
it-
the last edit?
The Flintstone house, and yeah, it's Flintstones. The stupid John Goodman movie, T. When was it not T?
I'm just looking at it, dude. Apparently, it wasn't T.
It's T.
And everybody, and this, the Empire one that everybody gets wrong. It's not Luke, I am your father. It's no, I am your father.
Beat me up, Scotty.
Yeah, which was never actually said.
See, the one I don't get though is the McDonald's or Mac, M-A-C. I don't ever remember
I feel like my
McDonald's.
I remember McDowell's
Shut up.
no, I think like
from
my,
Coming to America.
my great granddad
That movie's
called
amazing.
it McDonald's. Like everyone I know from
Everyone
like,
called it McDonald's, but it
Right.
wasn't spelled
no,
McDonald's.
never.
But that's what people are insinuating. It was spelled McDonald's.
And We Are the Champions does not end with Of the World.
To the death. I'll take that to the... Yes, it does.
The little piano comes in and does this little flourish, and then it fades out.
It
right?
just fades out.
Da-na-na-na-na.
And he says,
That's the end.
and everybody sings Of the World,
Toilet.
but it's not
It
there.
ends. No, I will... I'm not going to bet anything because I'll make
Can
a
we put that
stupid
in
bet right now.
the next commercial break and like you hear the music?
Oh, I'll totally dig it up.
All right, sweet.
Yeah, C-3PO, we all remember him as being completely gold in the original movies. But there are screenshots where he has a silver leg.
See the one like Oscar Mayer or Oscar Mayer, like spelled with an A or an
My
E.
Baloney has a first name. It's O-S-C-A-R. My Baloney has a second name. It's M-A-Y-E-R.
That's what I thought. Then who the hell thinks it's an E?
But it's E. You go to the company website, it's E. It's
That's
always
toilet
been
too.
E.
No. Hold on. Hold on a minute. That is not. I'm not eating their bologna anymore if it's M-E. Not like I've eaten it lately, but M-A-Y-E-R.
That's
M-A-Y-E-R.
That's what I always thought it was.
That's what it says. I'm looking at it right now. Wikipedia, they know everything. M-A-Y-E-R. Who thought it was E? They're an idiot. They didn't listen to the